Hello everybody, it's Mr. Q again. What's up? Hope you guys are staying safe and having fun. As I indicated last time, today we're going to be talking about part 2 of part 1 of the third part of the travel series. So this is part 3 of the travel series, and that topic is about buying, paying for, and reserving your travel and accommodations. Part 1 was about the airlines, and this part 2 will finish talking about getting your airline ticket, and then part 3 will be accommodations and visas. So today, let's finish up talking about getting your airline ticket for your international travel. Another good way to receive benefits is by being a frequent flyer of that airline that you're buying your tickets from. So usually there is not a fee, it does not cost to become a frequent flyer. You just have to sign up. And then you need to use your frequent flyer number whenever you buy your ticket. And the biggest reason to do this is that after you take enough flights and spend enough money, you can get a free ticket. But that's not the only thing that you can oftentimes get from frequent flyer membership. You can get extra baggage or free baggage. You can get upgrades. So you buy one class of ticket, and then because of your mileage, you can get an upgrade to a better class. So maybe you could buy a ticket for coach, but because of your frequent flyer, you might be able to upgrade to business. So it's very important that you use frequent flyer account number whenever you buy your tickets to make sure that you're getting the most out of the money you spend. Here you can see what frequent miler points you would earn for this flight from Albuquerque to San Francisco. Many frequent flyer programs require you to earn miles and segments and spend a minimum amount of money to be able to get your benefits. As I've indicated many times before, baggage is an important part of flying. And knowing what type of baggage can be carried on with you onto the airplane, or what kind of baggage must be checked at the ticket window, is very important. Many airlines allow you to have 2 personal items. You can carry on 2 items. And generally speaking, as long as it's the size of your chest here, you can carry it on if it's that or less. All right. Many airlines allow you to carry on 1 carry-on and 1 personal item. So you can carry on 2 items. Some only allow you to carry on 1. So it's important that you pay attention to this, because many people don't like checking in a bag, especially if they're not taking a lot of stuff with them. So if you're only going on a couple-day vacation, you might not need to take enough to fit into a giant suitcase that you would have to check. You might be able to take just enough to fill smaller suitcases or backpacks, and in which case you could just carry those on and not have to worry about going to baggage claim later. All right. Now, most airlines, nearly all of them, don't include a checked bag unless you're flying internationally, in which case frequently you can have at least 1 checked bag for free. It is very important that you pay attention to whether or not a checked bag is included. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is very important, because if you don't pay attention to how big your suitcase is, or if you don't pay attention to how heavy it is, and it's too big or too heavy, you will pay more when you get to the airport. And sometimes it's hard to know how much exactly more you will be paying before you get there. So pay attention. Make sure your bags are pretty close to the size they're supposed to be and the weight they're supposed to be, so you don't get charged the hidden fee at the airport of having to check those bags. And but if your bag does, if the only problem with your bag is it's too heavy, you can always take stuff out and rearrange it in other bags, or wear some of your clothing that you didn't want to wear. Not yet, right? So it's very important that you pay attention to this, because some of the cool things about, like I said, frequent flyer mileage, is that they can include a checked bag maybe. You know, when you pay for a higher class of ticket, oftentimes those include bags. So it's very important that you pay attention, because sometimes airlines will just ask you if you want to pay right now for an extra bag, which, when they do offer that to you, sometimes is cheaper than if you were to buy it at the airport. So it's good to buy that if you know you need it when you're buying your ticket. So the other thing is, you have to pay attention and be careful, because sometimes the buttons when you're trying to buy your tickets might not be very clear, and you might think that one button is the button you're supposed to push, but if you read very carefully, there might be a different button you need to push. And if you push the wrong button, you may end up paying more, you know? And so you don't want to pay more if you don't need to check a bag, and you don't need to pay more if you don't care about getting a seat beforehand. All airlines, as long as you buy a ticket, will have a seat for you. And you can pay more frequently. You can pay more to be able to select your seat when you buy your ticket. So it's a nice option. But some people don't care about selecting their seat. They're happy to get their seat when they check in. And sometimes when you check in for your flight, you can check in online or through your app. And then you can use that to speed up how much time it takes when you get to the airport. Unfortunately, even if you check in online, if you have bags to check, you're not going to be able to skip some of those lines. You'll still have to wait and check your bags in. So, but if you are only carrying the bags and you're only carrying those bags on, then checking in online is very good, because you can even sometimes skip going to the check-in counter altogether. You can just go straight to security, because you'll already have your boarding pass, and there's nothing you need to tell the ticket ladies. But I mean, if you're flying internationally, you might have to show them your passport and your visa, right? We've talked about visas, and even in this portion of the series, we've talked about buying your visas. You know, and they have to check these to make sure that you're okay to fly to that country. So sometimes, even if you don't have anything to check, you'll still need to go to the check-in agent, because they need to check your passport and visa and make sure that you're legal to fly to whatever country you're going to.
Here's an example of baggage allowance that you should be checking into to make sure that you meet the requirements to either carry on a bag or check a bag. This is an example of how it can be confusing. You think you're going to pay $192, but if you click the red button, which it looks like you should, you're actually going to pay $227. You have to pay attention. Beneath the red button, it says continue with basic economy. That's what you need to push to be able to get the lower fee. Don't be fooled. Don't let them sell you something that you don't need.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning about what some of the things that you need to be considering when you purchase your airline ticket to travel internationally. Let's review what we talked about, starting with how most people are going to be using the internet or an app to buy their tickets. And I personally use trip.com or the direct website of that particular airline. But there are many types of apps that you can use, like Expedia and WeChat, that will allow you to buy these tickets as well. You know, you need to pay attention to, is it cheaper to fly 2 one-ways or to find a round-trip ticket? And when you're buying your ticket, make sure you sort your ticket by price so that you get the cheapest ticket for your particular seat. And don't forget to use your frequent flyer membership when you book your ticket. That way you get credit for your flight and the money you spent. I mean, if you're spending the money, you might as well get the benefit from that, right? So, make sure you pay attention to where your plane is stopping and for how long it's stopping. Any delays or layovers, right? Because maybe you're going to some interesting place that you've never been, and maybe you're going to be there for a long time. So you could wander out of the airport and go see that city. You just have to make sure you know if you need a visa for that particular country. Because if not, you're fine. If you do, you might need to apply in advance for it. So just think about that. And make sure you pay attention to whether or not you intentionally want to go to this city or if it's just part of your flight. Make sure you investigate the baggage situation. Is a checked bag included? How many checked bags are included? How many carry-on items are you allowed? And how big can they be? These are all important things to consider when buying your ticket. Do you want to pick your ticket, and do you want to pick it the seat that your ticket is for, or do you want to wait? It's up to you. But just make sure that you understand everything that you need to so that you don't have to pay any hidden fees. Whether that be for your baggage because it's whatever you're trying to take with you is too big or too heavy, or whether it's because you want to use the ability to select your seat in advance. Pay attention. How important is that in relation to how much more you're going to have to pay? Today's homework, I want you to think about this trip we've been talking about that you have already written down some things about. And I want you to decide how much that ticket is going to cost you and what is included in that ticket. Do you get to select your seats? Do you get to have how many carry-ons? Do you have checked baggage included? I want you guys to think about how much that will actually cost you, because you can't forget about the fees, right? So it might cost one thing, but then when you finish, there might be extra fees and taxes that you have to pay. So I want you guys to think about that. Once you write all that down, share with your classmates. Talk to them. which airline do you think you'll be flying, and how much will it cost you, and what's included. All right, guys, that's it for me today. We'll see you next time when we're going to be talking about accommodations and visas. So we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.